How many of you have ever had a bad mood? If you looked at your spouse right then, you messed up. I'm just going to tell you, I hate to break the news to you, that was not the appropriate time to elbow your spouse. Sometimes we have bad hair days. Sometimes we have bad mood days. Sometimes we have days where people don't need to talk to us. I'm glad God never has a day like that. When I go to Him, I find He's the same in every season and every day of my life. And while situations can change, my Savior never will. And so as I look at Him, I understand that perhaps the most important task I have for the entirety of 2026 is to stay connected to Him, is to abide in the vine, to make sure that everything I'm doing is planted upon the rock in the rapids. You see, that brings us to this understanding that when you focus your life, you got to focus on connection, not effort. You don't bear fruit through straining and struggling in life. You're not saved by grace and kept by sweat. There ought to be some amens in here this morning. The most important thing that you and I can ever do in life is to stay connected to Him through every season of life. Because here's how the temptation works. There are some of you that want to disconnect as long as everything's good. And then you reconnect when you have a problem in life. I know I'm preaching now, it's going to get quiet. There are some of you that when times are great and there's enough money in the bank and you don't have any issues, that's the time to go to the beach rather than go to church. That's the time to go to the game rather than go to church. That's the time where it's okay to slip out and miss about 6 or 8 weeks in a row. But then when things go difficult and all of a sudden you have issues in life, you come running back and what you find is that there's a disconnect there. It's not that God changed, but somewhere along the way during that time of disconnect, your heart towards Him changed. You can't be disconnected and expect intimacy.